I'm joined today by NYPD Chief of Intelligence, Tom Galati, and Inspector Courtney Milan. From my office are Chief Assistant Attorney Jen Nyberg, Executive Assistant District Attorney Jerry Brave, Jonathan Sennett, Chief of our Violent Criminal Enterprise Bureau, and Shannon LaCourte, Director of our Crime Strategies and Intelligence Unit. Today we're bringing you up to speed on the hard work that is being done here in Queens in partnership with the NYPD, the ATF, and my office to halt the source of ghost guns. As we have noted before, ghost guns have become an emerging threat to our efforts to keep our streets safe from gun violence, and might I note that we are here quite often in this room showing you the amount of ghost guns that we are as a team getting off the street. It is good to see so many of you again, and we will continue to be here as we rid the streets of ghost guns in the borough of Queens County. The individuals building, trafficking, and using these illegal self-made firearms no longer need to travel the iron pipeline from down south to acquire firearms and then to distribute them in our community. Now, with the stroke of a keyboard, the polymer pipeline allows traffickers to build these weapons from the comfort of their own home. Ghost guns have been on the radar for the past few years, but now they are increasingly used by drivers of violent crime on the streets of Queens and on the streets of New York City, with our office and NYPD consistently seeing recoveries of ghost guns in street crimes. These individuals buy the parts, they put them together, and then they sell them or they use them in violent crimes. And they are almost impossible to trace. But through coordinated efforts of the NYPD and the investigators and attorneys in my office, we are rooting out the individuals who attempt to conceal the arsenals they have manufactured in their homes and distribute them throughout our neighborhood. The ghost guns and the ghost gun component parts in front of you were seized from the Fresh Meadows apartment of 20-year-old Chaz McMillan, who was arraigned last night. I want to be clear, this was an apartment building. This was an apartment building with people just living right next door in the next apartment, just like you can build them right in the basement of a home. You have no idea where they are being built, and that's what makes them all the more dangerous. And, by the way, difficult to find were it not for the cooperation and coordination with the NYPD and our office. Chaz McMillan, who was arraigned last night and remanded to custody on a 125-count complaint charging him with criminal possession of a weapon in the first degree, criminal possession of a weapon in the second degree, criminal possession of a weapon in the third degree, criminal sale of firearms in the third degree, and other charges. Investigators were conducting an ongoing surveillance of the defendant, who has allegedly been buying firearm parts online, having them delivered to his apartment. Early yesterday morning, they executed a search warrant and recovered the following. In front of you are 25 ghost guns, including 19 semi-automatic pistols, 5 assault weapons, 1 semi-automatic shotgun. There are also 31 large-capacity magazines capable of holding more than 10 rounds of ammunition, 4 additional complete polymer-based lower receivers, approximately 670 rounds of ammunition for various caliber arms, several firearm-related component parts for assembling and manufacturing even additional guns, not only those that are already put together, but parts for additional guns. Think about that for 1 minute. These lethal firearms were allegedly being manufactured and kept on the first floor of an apartment in a large building complex with dozens of residents, and there was still more to complete when we found them. The defendant does not have a license to possess our own firearms in the city of New York. He faces up to 25 years in prison if convicted. And I want to put this in perspective, the partnership between the New York City Police Department and our office. This is the 5th seizure and arrest of this kind in Queens since August. The others included 2 homes in Richmond Hill, 1 in Hollis and 1 in Rosedale. 6 defendants since August have been charged as part of the 5 investigations. To put this all in perspective, from August 2021, the NYPD and our office have conducted 5 ghost gun takedowns. They resulted in 74 total firearms, including ghost guns and some commercially manufactured guns. 51 of them were ghost guns, 31 semi-automatic handguns, 17 assault weapons, 2 machine guns. Of those, 222 high-capacity magazines, and most importantly, 91 firearm lower receivers, so 91 potential guns. We will not stop. We will not stop using traditional investigative techniques coupled with accurate intelligence gathering and analysis. We will continue a relentless pursuit of those who think that they can get away with bringing these tools of death to our communities. We will find you. We will dismantle the ring, and we will prosecute you, and we will dismantle the polymer pipeline. In addition to those I've already acknowledged from my office, I'd like to express my greatest gratitude to the members of the DA's Detective Bureau, Acting Chief Danny O'Brien, Lieutenant Al Schwartz, Sergeant Joseph Falgiano, Detective Jason Robles, and Detective Brianna Knight. But our partnership with the NYPD is truly why this is such a success. On the NYPD Major Case Field Intelligence Team, Sergeant Brogdon Tabor, Detective Victor Cardona, Detective John Schultz, Detective Mike Bellato, Detective John Usk, and Christopher Thomas. From my VCE, Ajay Chedda, who is the lead prosecutor in this case, thank you for all the great teamwork. I now introduce you, please, to Chief of Intelligence, Thomas Galati.
Thank you, District Attorney Katz, and I just want to thank you for your team and all the support that they give us in this ongoing fight against ghost guns. I'm going to turn it over in a few seconds to Inspector Courtney Nyland, but I just want to say that, you know, I think it was October 20-something that we were here the last time with, you know, a table filled with these ghost guns. These ghost guns are becoming more prevalent in our cities. This is not only a problem in Queens, New York City, it's a problem that is really affecting every city in the country right now. I do sit on the board of Major City Chiefs Intelligence Commanders Group, and this is one of the #1 problems that I think every city is facing now. And our partnership with the DA's office is really working well and getting a lot of these guns off the street before they can show up in crime scenes. In New York City, we are starting to see these guns show up more and more in crime scenes. We're seeing them show up more and more during robberies, during shootings, so it is a problem. But it's operations like this that is going to put a dent in it, and hopefully with legislation's change, maybe we can get these ghost guns off the street completely. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Courtney Nyland, Inspector Nyland, who runs our field intelligence program citywide.
Good afternoon. I just want to start yet again by thanking District Attorney Katz, by thanking the Queens DA Squad, and by thanking the Crime Strategies and Intelligence Unit within the Queens District Attorney Office. I also want to recognize the hard work done day in and day out by my Major Case Field Intelligence team, who are standing right here to my left. Their passion, this was born of their passion a year and a half ago, of combating the emerging trends of ghost guns on the streets of the city of New York. And this work could not be done without having great partnerships. We have amazing partnerships with the Queens District Attorney's Office, as you see here today. I want to recognize an ongoing partnership that we additionally have with the ATF, who has been crucial in assisting us with many of these ghost gun investigations. And its partnerships with you know, federally, state-wise, that are going to lead to increased seizures, are going to lead to safer streets for everybody that lives in New York City, not only the residents of Queens, but the residents of New York City as a whole. So once again, I would like to thank my team. I would like to thank District Attorney Katz's team, and I hope that we can continue this partnership and come back here many more times and take these guns off the streets of Queens. Thank you.
We thank everyone for coming out here today. We know it's not going to be the last seizure of ghost guns that we make. We wish it was, because we hope to rid the streets of it. But we thank you for coming out here to show the value of getting the guns off the street each and every time. I'm happy to take a few questions.
How are you tipped off to this guy? Does he have a prior criminal history?
This is part of an ongoing investigation, but do we have any information. We always scour the internet. There are signs that this is happening in a community. There are hundreds of vendors that actually sell parts of these guns. And I would like to introduce Shannon LaCourte, who's head of the Crime Strategies Unit.
Thank you, DA Katz. Yes, without commenting specifically on an ongoing investigation, there are intelligence resources that we use in coordination with our office, local, state, and federal law enforcement officials, particularly our NYPD partners, to identify individuals who are purchasing firearm components in interstate commerce. Based on that information, we're able to do traditional investigative techniques, surveillance, and things of that nature to identify the actual individuals and then follow up with enforcement.
And does he have a prior criminal history?
This particular defendant does not.
DA Katz, you talked about some of the vendors and folks online selling. Are you looking to prosecute them as well?
I think right now we're working on who's buying the weapons. I know they're working on federal legislation and state legislation. I do think that there is value to having serial numbers placed on every single part of a weapon. I know there's been a lot of discussion on it. It is my hope that as we prosecute more ghost gun traffickers and more people that are building these guns in the basements of their houses or in apartments right next door to you, wherever you live, that we will take seriously the need to be able to identify every part of each gun as they put them together. It will not stick out almost anywhere. The weight is very, very low. I would say probably the weight of a pencil or maybe 2 or 3 pencils. And you buy on the internet the items that belong in the gun to make this an operable weapon. That's why it is so dangerous. Okay? Thank you, everyone.